Welcome back. In your previous lecture of this module, you have been introduced to the concept of food quality and standards, which was defined as the sum of all properties and attributes of a food and that are acceptable to the consumer. So, one important aspect of this is food hygiene, which refers to the many practices needed to safeguard the quality of food from production to consumption. So, today we are going to explore basics of food safety, food handling, and hygiene. So, dear student, as we know that everyone who works with food is responsible for ensuring that consumers are protected from contaminated food and the risk of food poisoning, which causes extreme discomfort, absence from the work or school, and in some cases, death. People get sick from the food poisoning because the food they have eaten has contained bacteria, viruses, or chemicals. So it can take from an hour to a few days to develop food poisoning. Depending on the cause, and the best way of preventing food poisoning is to use safe food handling practices. At present, food safety has become the focus of attention of our society. So, food safety not only has a direct impact on people's health, but also become a key factor in social stability and economic development. The risk of contamination in particularly high whenever food is being prepared for cooking or processed in some other ways in readiness for consumption. So it is important for the food handler to be aware of the critical points when microbial growth is favored. So first of all, we have to know that what is a safe food. A safe food product is one which represents the minimum risk of illness or harm to the consumer when prepared or eaten according to its intended use. Foodborne illness can result from like microorganisms, for example, like bacteria and their toxins, poisons, viruses, parasites. Some other factors that are responsible for the foodborne illness are heavy metals such as lead, mercury that can cause neurological damage in infants and children. Then another one is the chemical residues such as pesticides, detergents, disinfectants, antibiotics, lubricants, and illegal food additives, as well as those used in concentrations higher than maximum regulated levels. Other chemicals such as mycotoxins produced by certain fungi under correct conditions. Other foreign materials such as metal fragments, wooden splinters, and glass fragments. Then other factors are also like naturally poisonous foods such as poisonous mushrooms and certain types of fishes. These are allergens that are naturally found in certain foods such as milk, eggs, nuts, wheat, shellfish, and so on. So now first of all, we discuss is what is food hygiene and safety. So the term food hygiene refers particularly to the practices that prevent microbial contamination of food at all points along the chain and the farm to table. Food safety is a closely related but broader concept. That means food is free from all possible contaminants and hazards. So, in practice, both terms may be used interchangeably. That is food hygiene and safety. So, food hygiene is vital for creating and maintaining hygienic and healthy conditions for the production and consumption of the food that we eat. Food hygiene and safety usually refers to contamination with microorganisms or microbes, whereas in communicable diseases, the term infectious agents is preferred. Now, first of all, what is the food hygiene? So, the definition of food hygiene is that it is an important part of food safety and ensuring the health and well being of the consumers. Food hygiene is the practice of handling, preparing, and storing the food in a way that prevents the foodborne illness. Also, it set up guidelines designed to keep food safe from the contamination and spoilage. Food hygiene involves all conditions and measures necessary to ensure the safety and suitability of food at all stages of the food chain. It is designed to ensure the safety and wholesomeness of the food from the receipt of raw materials to supplying the consumers. Food hygiene is more than just cleanliness. Food hygiene mainly includes all practices that involved in protecting food from contamination, including harmful bacteria, toxin, allergens, undesirable chemicals, and foreign bodies. It also includes the help in providing preventing any microorganisms present from multiplying to an extent that would cause illness to consumer or the early spoilage of the food. Destroying any harmful microorganism in the food by through or thorough cooking or processing is also important than rejecting and discarding unfit or contaminated foods. All these are the practices that should be involved when we talk about the food hygiene. There are specifically some objectives of the food hygiene that includes to prevent food from spoilage due to the contamination as a result of unclean environmental conditions, poor food hygiene practices, and lack of orientation of the food society, safety. Next objective is to orient and educate people involved in the processing of the product on how to practice safe food handling and sanitary practices. Next objective is to extend the shelf life of the product through cleaning process. And the next one is the to prevent releasing unsafe food to the market that can result in foodborne illness. Now here are some consequences of poor hygiene. Consequences of poor hygiene is the cost of poor hygiene in which food safety involve often unseen hazards at every stage from farm to fork that could turn food, the stuff of life, into a cause of severe illness and or death. So, illness due to consumption of unsafe food can affect anyone and are a major cause of personal distress, preventable death, and avoidable economic burden. So, food poisoning, outbreaks, and something death. Customers' complaints, wastage of the good due to spoilage, infection, suspension of the trading by local health authorities, fines and the cost of the legal action by food poisoning sufferers, loss of reputation through word of mouth or media exposure. All these are the consequences of poor hygiene. Now, who are responsible? So, everyone in the food chain has a responsibility to ensure that food is safe and free from contamination. So, this include mainly the food producers, processors, distributors, retailers, caterers, and consumers. Food hygiene is especially important for those who work in the food industry, such as chefs, cooks, and food handlers. They must be aware of the risk associated with the food contamination and take a step to prevent it for both human and animals. This practice is also important for those who work in food related business. So such as restaurant, cafeterias, grocery stores, they are responsible. So these businesses must be ensured that their employees are properly trained in food safety and hygiene practices and that their premises are kept clean and free from hazards. They must also ensure that their food is stored and handled correctly to avoid contamination. Now come to the approach of the problem. It means that a systematic plan or a set of practices designed to prevent the food contamination and foodborne illness by maintaining personal cleanliness, by washing hands, use clean utensils and surfaces, and wash fruits and vegetables thoroughly with clean water, and also by preventing food being contaminated, by killing bacteria, and also by preventing bacteria growth and multiplication. However, when you work in the food industry, you must consider a number of important issues to do with your approach to personal hygiene and kitchen hygiene as well. Now, what are the benefits of good hygiene? Practicing good food hygiene will benefit food business in many ways, like return of business through satisfied consumer, good reputation. A reputation for safe and hygienic practices build trust and it leads to increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. Next is the compliance with the law. Proper food hygiene practices ensure that the business meet legal requirement and the food safety regulation. And the next one is the high quality food and increased shelf life of the food. Proper food handling, storage, and preparation prevents spoilage and contamination, reducing the amount of food and needs to be thrown away. And the next benefit is the good working environment for staff, boosting staff morale and job satisfaction. Now comes to the types of the food hygiene. There are several different types of food hygiene that must be followed in order to ensure the safety of the food. Some of these include the following, like personal hygiene. So personal hygiene includes the washing hands before and after handling the food, wearing clean clothes, and avoiding contact with food if you have any open wounds or cuts. It's also important to keep food preparation areas clean and free from pests. And the next type of food hygiene is the food storage hygiene. This type involves the storing food at the correct temperature using separate containers for the raw and the cooked food and ensuring that food is not left out of the refrigerator for too long. And the next one is the if the food preparation the next hygiene is the food preparation hygiene. This includes washing all fruits and vegetables before use, cooking food to the correct temperature, and avoiding cross contamination between raw and cooked food. It is also important to use clean utensils and surfaces when preparing the food. And it is also essential to label the food with the date it was prepared and discard any food that has been left out for too long. Now we talk about the difference between the food hygiene and the food safety. Technically, they are not the same. Although in some cases, food manufacturers use these terms interchangeably. They have different meanings and have different principles. Food safety includes a wide range of areas of ensure the food is safe and fit for human consumption. Food safety concerned with all types of hazards and includes the system of corrective action, monitoring, and how to achieve these safe operations. In short, food safety is the bigger umbrella and the food hygiene is under it. So, food hygiene is the practice of doing the derivatives from the food safety as cleanly and as safely as possible. Food safety refers to a holistic approach to controlling and managing food safety hazards. Now, as we have discussed about the food safety, before now, let us discuss about the food safety in detail. Food safety means assurance that food is acceptable for human consumption according to its intended use. As understanding of food safety is improved by defining two other concepts like toxicity and hazards. Mainly, the toxicity is the capacity of a substance to produce harm or injury of any kind under any conditions. And the next one is the hazard, and hazard is the relative probability that harm or injury will result when the substance is not used in a prescribed manner and quantity. These hazards can be physical, chemical, and biological, causing harmful adverse effect on the health of consumers. First hazard is the physical hazard. In any physical material not normally found in food which causes illness or injury and includes mainly the wood, stone, parts of the pests, hair, etc. All these are called physical hazards. Common physical hazards include glass, chipped pieces from the equipment, metal shavings and cans of oils, stapler pins, blades, plastic or the chip pieces of this disposable lint and threads, band-aids, hair, fingernails, jewelry pieces. All these are the examples of the physical hazards. Next one is the chemical hazard. Chemical hazards are the chemicals or the deleterious substances which may be intentionally or unintentionally added to foods. This category of hazards includes pesticides, chemical residue, toxic metals, and polychlorinated biphenyls, preservatives, food colors, and other additives that can cause a foodborne illness. They are called the chemical hazards. Now, the next one is the biological hazards. Biological hazards are living organisms and include microbiological organisms mainly. Those microorganisms which are associated with food and cause the diseases are termed foodborne pathogens. There are two types of foodborne diseases from the microbial pathogens, like infectious and the poisoning. They are also called invisible microbiological hazards like bacteria, example Salmonella, E. coli, viruses, example norovirus, hepatitis A, and the parasites, example protozoa, are too small to see but can contaminate the food through poor hygiene or contaminated waste. There are some visible biological hazards also in the food that can be spread through worms, weevils, cockroaches, flies, and many more. These biological hazards can be due to the foodborne infections and foodborne intoxication. Foodborne infections mainly this occurs when a person consumes food containing pathogens which grow in the human intestine and causes the discomfort or diseases. Salmonella is a classic example. This organism exists in the intestinal tract of animals. Raw milk and eggs are also the sources, so heat can destroy salmonella. Food may become infected by salmonella if an infected food handler does not wash hands with soap after using bathroom and before touching food. Salmonella can reproduce very quickly and double their number every 20 minutes. So the symptom of this infection include the diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. Foodborne intoxication. Foodborne intoxication are the some bacteria that produces harmful toxin which are present in food even if pathogens has been killed. Organism produce toxins when the food has not been hot enough or cold enough. So toxin in the food can be detected by smell, appearance, or taste, or it cannot be detected by smell, appearance, or taste. So, hence, food which smell and appear good are not necessary they are safe. One example of such an organism is the Staphylococcus aureus. Such organism exists in hair, dust, water. They are also present in the nasal passage, throat, and on skin also. Hair of 50% of the healthy individuals also. So people who carry this organism can contaminate the food if they touch these places on body while food handling. Diarrhea is also one of the symptoms of this contamination. Now, in the context of the food safety, it is important to understand the terms contamination and the adulteration. Food contamination, it is the presence of harmful or an objectionable foreign substances in food such as chemicals, microorganisms, dilutants before or during or after processing or storage of the food. While adulteration is the process in which the quality of the food is lowered either by the addition or of inferior quality material or by extraction of the valuable ingredients. So it not only includes the intentional addition or substitution of the substances, but biological and chemical contamination during the period of growth, storage, processing, transport, and distribution of the food products. It is also responsible for lowering or degradation of the quality of the food products. Now, there are the certain sources of contamination. Sources of contamination in the is the specific origin or cause the introduces of unwanted substances or agents. People having their hands, mouth, nose, anus, or skin as the responsible for the contamination. Clothes like dirty clothes, etc. Utensils like dirty utensils, especially those used for raw than cooked foods, without adequate cleaning and sanitizing in between. Tea towels are also responsible. Raw foods, especially the red meat, chicken, seafood, vegetables, water. And flies and pests are also responsible, even the garbages also. Now, after getting the knowledge about the food contamination, food toxification, it is important to get acquainted by preventing measures. If we are to adopt the main principles of food hygiene, we must adhere to the following practices, like develop and maintain high standards of personal hygiene, avoid cross contamination of the foods, establish and maintain correct storage conditions, clean and sanitize all utensils and equipments used in the handling and preparation of the foods. And lastly is the controlled pests. Now come to the food safety management system. Over the years, issues related to the food safety and quality have gone beyond just the avoidance of the foodborne pathogens, chemical toxicants, and the other hazards. So, a food hazard can enter or come into the food at any stage of the food chain. So, therefore, adequate control throughout the food chain is essential. Food safety and quality can be ensured through good manufacturing practices, good handling practices, hazard analysis, critical control points. Now, firstly, we discuss about the good manufacturing practices. GMP are a part of the quality assurance to ensure that the manufacturers or the processors take proactive steps to ensure that their products are safe. It enables to minimize or eliminate the contamination and false labeling, thereby protecting the consumer from being misled and helping in purchasing products that are not harmful. GMP is a good business tool that helps to define compliance and performance by the manufacturers or producers. Next, the second one is the good handling practices, GHP. It indicates a comprehensive approach from the farm to the store or consumer. In order to identify the potential sources of risk and indicates what steps and procedures are taken to minimize the risk of contamination. It ensures that all persons who handle food have good hygiene practices. And the third one is the hazard analysis critical control point. HACCP is a systematic approach of the food safety and identifies, evaluates, and controls potential hazards at every stage of the food chain, from the raw material procurement of the final consumption. In contrast, HACCP enables to detect hazards at any stage of processing or manufacture in order to ensure a good quality and protect. By taking appropriate action at the stage where the problem occurs, it enables the producers, processors, distributors, and exporters to utilize resources efficiently and in a cost effective manners for ensuring food safety. Food Safety and Standard Authority 2006 places primary responsibility for the safe food with producers and suppliers through HACCP, GMP, GHP. This is important for the consumer protection and international food trade also. It ensures consistently the good quality products. Now, after discussing about the food safety and food hygiene, it is important to know about how food handling practices. Food handling is important because unsafe food handling can lead to outbreak of the foodborne illness commonly known as the food poisoning to both humans and animals. According to WHO, foodborne illness which cause the long-lasting disability and even death. So food handling refers to the practices involved in the safe preparation, conservation, and consumption of the food to prevent contamination of the foodborne illness, such as ensuring proper hygiene, washing food, and boiling water for drinking. Now, here are some safe food handling practices. First one is clean. Food handlers must wash their hands with warm water and soap for at least 20 seconds before they begin food preparation. They should also ensure that all tools like cutting boards and knives are clean and dry. Next one is separate. Keep raw meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs separate from other ingredients. Don't use containers, plates, cutting boards, or utensils that have held raw items over for other ingredients unless they have been washed with hot soapy water. Third one is cook. Food handlers must check the internal temperature of cooked dishes using a food thermometer to ensure they are within the required range of each food type. Dishes must not be served if they fall outside the proper temperature. as this help kill harmful microorganisms before the food reaches the customer. Last food handling practices is chill. Keep refrigerator temperature below 40°F or 4°C. So to simplify the monitoring, consider using temperature sensors that alter the food handlers if the temperature rises above this threshold. For freezers, maintain the temperature of 0°F or -70°C. Now here are some general hygiene and health of food handlers points. They should not eat chewing gums. Mainly the food handlers who work in the food handling activities, they should not eat any chewing gums or pan masala. They should not eat or taste food in food handling areas. Food handlers with cough and sneeze must not handle the food. They should wear a face mask. No food handlers shall be engaged in smoking, spitting in food preparation and food service areas. Food handlers should follow all the basic of general hygiene and health rules. And now FSI has provided an advisory for the chefs and the food handlers more specifically concerning hygiene and safety. As you can observe in the figure, this basic requirements for the personal hygiene. The bacteria that can cause food poisoning can easily transfer from the hands and the clothes of the pupil who handle it to food. So it is important that everyone handles food has a high level of personal hygiene, as well as hands, clothes, and other body parts, hair and jewelry can contain and spread the bacteria to food. So people with illness and those with wounds like cuts and scratches can spread the illness through the food without knowing it. Good hygiene begins with the attitudes and knowledge of all food service workers. It starts with personal hygiene and caring for yourself, an outward sign for a healthy body and attention to grooming. At last, we can say that personal cleanliness of the food handlers is the most important link in preventing foodborne illness. These personal hygiene habits shall become a part of their behavior. All food handlers shall always wash their hands with soap and clean potable water, disinfectant their hands and then dry with hand dryer or a clean cloth towel or disposable papers. Food handlers shall always wash their hands at the beginning of the food handling activities, immediately after handling raw food or any contaminated material, tools, equipment, or work surface, where this could result in contamination of other food items or after using the toilet. So this is the procedure of how to properly wash hands and when to wash hands, as you can see in this figure. So, my dear student, thank you for listening this lecture, and I hope you have learned how to differentiate between food hygiene and safety and personal hygiene of the food handlers as well as the safe food handling practices. Now our next lecture will be on the traditional menu planning. Thank you so much.